Hi, I'm Jodelle. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about first impressions. So why do first impressions even matter? Why are we here? Why are we talking about this? First impressions have lasting power. It is hard to change someone's mind after they've made it up about you. And unfortunately, people make up their minds about you in the first 10 seconds that they see you. All throughout your life, you're going to be creating first impressions, and the first trademark of a first impression is that it's a snap judgment. It happens like that. That's why you want to put your best foot forward and be really aware of your behaviors and your actions and all your nonverbal cues that you're giving the people around you. The next trademark of a first impression is limited information. People are making judgments about you based on limited information, based on only what they can see, based on those first 10 seconds that they have to get to know you. With that limited information, that's going to create their perception of you that will last probably a lifetime, and that's really hard to change. So now that we know some of the trademarks of a first impression, what are some of those decisions that the other person is making about you? Well, I've narrowed it down to 5. These are 5 decisions that they're making in those first few seconds that they're meeting you. The first one is your education level. They're deciding how intelligent you are and what kind of value your information that you're going to be sharing brings to them. The second thing that they're deciding is your trustworthiness and your credibility. Are you someone that they can trust? Is what you're sharing credible? Do you have facts to back it up? Or are you just a really great storyteller? If somebody really likes facts, that's going to have a lot more value for them than the storytelling. The third thing they are deciding is your level of success. They're deciding if you're a successful person in whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be just business. It can be friendships. They're deciding if you're more successful than them, and that could just be in life or in business. Another thing they're deciding is if you bring value to them. Do you bring value in the form of information, in emotional intelligence, in new ideas? They're gauging whether this interaction will bring them value or if they're bringing you more value. And the last thing they're deciding is your competency. Are you able to figure stuff out, get stuff done? Are you high functioning? So these 5 decisions are just happening in that first 10 seconds. They're gauging where you kind of rank on this hierarchy in relation to themselves. So now that we know what decisions the other person is making about you, now you want to know the tools that you have at your disposal to create the best first impression. And so the first one, making eye contact with a person. That's an easy way to show them that you're engaged, that you're confident. The next one is the smile. Ding. Never forget the power of a smile. It is open, it's engaging, it shows non-threatening behavior, so a smile goes a long way. The next thing is having an open posture. Facing them with your shoulders squared, you're smiling, you look open, you're engaging, you look friendly, you're ready for this interaction, and you're welcoming it. You're also welcoming them, and people love to feel welcome. They love to feel included. They love to feel safe, especially if they're in a big setting where there could be lots of anxiety and they're caught up in their own thoughts in their own head. And so this is a great way for you to put them at ease before you've even said a single word, before you've even shaken their hand, before you've even really gotten very close in their orbit. You're already open, you're making eye contact, you're smiling, you are ready for this interaction. Another thing for a great first impression, before you even get somewhere, is your punctuality. Being on time either says a lot about you or it doesn't really say anything about you. But on the flip side, being late has a negative impact on your first impression. So while being on time may or may not impact a positive impression, being late will always impact a negative impression. Your appearance also has a big part to play in first impressions. Keeping yourself nicely groomed is going to have the biggest impact on that first impression. If you're well groomed and well put together, that's going to say a lot, and that will just boost your status in their eyes. Likewise, if you have long hair and you walk up to somebody and you're flipping it and you're kind of playing with it, right? You're going to look a little more carefree. You're going to look a little more at ease. You're probably going to look a little more approachable. If I decided to put my hair up and this is how I was going to approach the person, I might come across a little more severe, a little more stern, maybe a little more professional, maybe a little more put together. It depends what kind of impression that you want to make. There's a couple more tools that you have at your disposal. Another one is the handshake. And I made a whole video about the handshakes. I think I have 5 or 6 different variations of them and what they're saying about you, but also what they say about the other person. So I will link that video up here for easy reference. And the last tool at your disposal is your tone of voice. That is how you greet the person. person and those first couple of sentences that you make. If you're really excited or nervous to meet this person, you might end up giggling, which is my nemesis, and I try to avoid it at all costs, but sometimes it happens, especially when I'm feeling very confident and I'm excited to meet the person, or I'm very nervous, and sometimes that tonality goes a little high and it gets a little giggly, and so that's where they could take you a little less seriously. It is really nice to come in with just a nice confident voice. Hi, my name's Jodelle, nice to meet you. And stick your hand out, make eye contact, you're smiling, you're open, you're engaging. It's super simple, but you just want to be mindful of all these things that are at play as they're watching you. So take away as many of the distracting factors that will go against you, then you only leave a couple of items to chance. And that's mostly just the rest of your conversation, those next few sentences that are so variable depending on the situation, depending on the person, depending on how you're feeling that day. So working on your improv skills will definitely help with your first impression. So if you've ever thought about taking an improv class, I would highly suggest it. I've done it, and it really does help with that little bit of small talk and making that great first impression. You don't know what first impression is going to land with them more strongly than another. So where would you even start in trying to correct a bad first impression? And so really being aware of your presentation is going to be crucial so that you have as much control over it as possible, because at the end of the day, you have no control over the person that you're making that impression on. It is left up to their own perception of you and how they're interpreting that information. All you can do is deliver the most clear, concise, authentic version of yourself so that they have the best chance to judge you, and they still might not like you because they just might not like you, and that's okay. At least they don't like the real you, and that's really powerful, because then right away, if you don't match, you don't match. But if you're presenting a false sense of yourself, trying to be someone that you're not, and they don't like that, then you might have missed an opportunity for them to actually have connected and like the real you. And people can often sense that sense of like that false sense of self that people tend to present. People really like being able to put together their visual and their auditory information. They like that to match up and sync up. So when that happens, then they feel like they're getting a more authentic version of yourself. Your trustworthiness has just gone up. So really be mindful of not just telling people things, but also showing them. That has a lot more power to it and really boost your credibility. That's enough for a first impression. I would love to hear what your first impression was of me in this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching. If you like what you saw, then sub if you love, and I will catch you in another video. Bye!